You know that scary statistic that the average founder owns less than 15% of their company when it finally goes public? If you're an early-stage founder, especially a technical one, that should give you pause. In this explainer, we're going to lay out a framework to make sure that doesn't happen to you, so you can build your dream without giving it all away. Let's jump in.
And this is it, right? This is where the anxiety kicks in. You're building something incredible, but when the equity conversation comes up, it feels like you're just guessing. People throw around what's standard, but what does that even mean for your company with your specific vision?
I mean, really think about that. One bad guess, one deal for a small piece of the pie, and you could literally wake up one day and find you're no longer in control of the company you poured your life into. That's the nightmare scenario we're here to avoid.
So, how do we get you from guessing to being in complete control? Here's the game plan. We're going to start with the big mistakes. Then we'll redefine what equity really is, expose the common traps, and then give you a playbook to protect what's yours. Sound good?
First things first, let's talk about the two massive blunders founders make right out of the gate. They either ask the wrong question entirely, or they use equity as a quick and easy fix. Both of these can be absolutely fatal.
The number one trap is what I call benchmark blindness. You hear your buddy gave his first engineer 1%, so you think, okay, 1% is the rule. But wait, what if his engineer was a kid straight out of college, and yours is a world-class expert who's going to 10x your entire product? The percentage means nothing without context. The only thing that matters is the value being exchanged.
Think of your early-stage equity like a credit card with an absolutely insane interest rate. Sure, it feels like free money when you swipe it to pay a lawyer or get some code written, but the debt you're racking up, a messy, complicated cap table, can completely destroy your ability to raise real money later on.
So, let's just rewire your brain on this for a second. Forget the percentages, let's talk about what you're really giving away when you hand over a piece of your company.
And let's be brutally honest here. Every time you give away equity, you are giving away a piece of your control. You're giving away a fraction of your voice. And if you give away too many pieces, well, you'll eventually be silenced in your own boardroom.
Now, this is the concept that changes everything once you get it. This is where I show you how giving away less can actually make you more valuable. It all comes down to one little word: valuation. It's like flipping a house, right? You wouldn't sell it before you've renovated the kitchen and fixed the leaky roof. No way. You do the work first, increase the value, and then sell it for a much higher price. It's the exact same with your company. The more value you build before you give away equity, a better product, more users, solid IP, the less of your company you have to sell for the same amount of cash.
All right, let's make this real. Let's do some quick math. Imagine you've got your killer idea, a working prototype, and an investor says, okay, I think this thing is worth $1 million.
So you decide to give up 10% for a crucial hire. Seems small, doesn't it? A tiny price to pay. But hold on a second. You're not in this to build $1 million company. You're shooting for the moon, $100 million valuation, maybe even more.
So let's fast forward a few years. You absolutely crushed it. The company is flying and it's now worth $100 million. Well, that small 10% you gave away early on, it's now worth $10 million. So you have to ask yourself, was that early contribution really worth $10 million?
Okay, now that you feel the weight of these decisions, let's talk about the landmines out there. I want to walk you through the 3 most common equity traps that can completely blow up your company before you even get off the ground.
You know this person. You meet them at a networking event, they love your idea, and they offer to open their Rolodex and make some intros for a tiny 1% of your company. It sounds like a dream.
But wait, before you even think about it, you need to put them in the hot seat. Forget the standard advisor percentages. That's just noise. You need to ask these questions. Is their experience generic, or is it laser-focused on your specific industry? Are they actually going to roll up their sleeves and commit real time, or are they just going to be a name on a slide? If they can't give you rock-solid answers, they're not worth a single share.
Next up is a big one, the person you call a co-founder who's really just your first employee. Look, you're desperate for a great engineer, so you're tempted to offer them a huge slice of equity. But there is a massive difference. A founder takes on existential risk, working for peanuts or for free. An employee is taking a job. Their equity has to reflect that huge difference in risk.
And the last trap, the siren song of dumb money. This is the investor who will write you a check, no questions asked, but in return, they want a gigantic piece of your company. It's the startup version of a payday loan.
That short-term cash is almost never worth the long-term pain, and it sends a terrible signal to the smarter investors you'll need later.
Okay, that's enough of the horror stories. Let's talk about the solution. I'm going to give you your secret weapon, a super simple but incredibly powerful question that will shield you from almost any bad equity deal.
Here it is, the one question you have to burn into your brain before you give away a single share. Will this person, this money, or this partnership realistically increase the future value of my company by at least 10 times? Not 2 times, not 5 times, 10x.
This question is your filter. It's your shield. It forces you to cut through the noise and only focus on true, game-changing opportunities. If the answer isn't a clear, obvious, resounding yes, then you're paying too much. End of story.
And here's a power move for all you tech founders. Your intellectual property is your equity armor. When you file a patent, you are creating a tangible, defensible asset. Good investors see that as a huge reduction in risk. A company that's harder to copy is simply worth more. And a higher valuation means you give up less of your company for the same amount of money.
So let's bring this all home. All these little decisions about equity, they're not just numbers on a spreadsheet. You're literally drawing the architectural blueprints for the company you hope to lead for years to come.
When a serious investor looks at your capitalization table, they're not just looking at the math. They are reading a story about you as a leader. A messy cap table full of weird deals screams amateur. A clean, thoughtful one tells them this founder is strategic, they're disciplined, and they know what they're doing.
So I'll leave you with this one thought. Before your next equity conversation, ask yourself, will this decision help me win the war, or is it just a shortcut to win today's battle? Because at the end of this long, incredible journey, you deserve to truly own your victory.